So if you like me, this video, please make sure to hit that like button and subscribe. Hi everyone, it's Leo again and welcome back to my channel. So today, pag-uusapan naman natin ano nga ba ang mga qualifications and requirements to start earning $7 per hour as a healthcare virtual assistant here at Hello Rache. So stick around! So the first requirement ni Hello Rache is that you need to be a resident here in the Philippines. Bakit? Kasi dito sa Pilipinas, we have the Data Privacy Act of 2012. So kahit saan ka sa Pilipinas, as long as you have a stable internet connection, which we'll cover also later, you are qualified to work as a healthcare virtual assistant. Now, a frequently asked question here from our kabayans outside of the country is that pwede ba silang magtrabaho as a healthcare virtual assistant if they're out of the country kung Pilipino naman sila? The answer there is no, because if you're already out of the country, even if you're a Filipino, the Philippine laws do not apply to you anymore. The second requirement ni Hello Rache is a medical background. So if you're a graduate of any of the allied medical courses that's available here in the Philippines, nursing, pharmacy, medtechs, or radtechs, if you're a graduate of those courses, even if you do not have any healthcare or relevant work experience, or you don't have any work experience at all, you are still qualified to apply. Now, hindi lang naman mga graduates ang tinatanggap ni Hello Rache. So, if you are one of those students na undergrad, you took up a medical course pero hindi mo natapos, as long as nakatapos ka ng third year wherein nandun yung RL experience mo, pwede po pa rin kayo mag-apply. Now, if you haven't taken up any medical course in college but you have worked in the BPO industry under a US healthcare insurance account for at least 2 years, you are also qualified to apply as a healthcare virtual assistant, because a lot of our clients have our virtual assistant do prior authorization and insurance verification, things like those, and knowing the insurance lingo on the back end actually gives you an edge as a healthcare virtual assistant. Now, if you're one of those candidates with the said qualifications that we mentioned, just present a proof of education when you apply, or nandun yung relevant work experience mo sa resume when you apply here at Hello Rache. Now, the third requirement ni Hello Rache is an NBI clearance. Since we're dealing with patient health information, which are sensitive and protected information, you need to present that upon application. Hindi na po pwede na to follow na lang ang NBI clearance. So the fourth requirement of Hello Rache is that you need to have a quiet working environment. Bawal po yung maingay na lugar, kasi baka mamaya while you're scribing or on the phone with a patient, marinig yung tiktilawak ng mga manok nyo. Funny as it seems, it really doesn't look professional. Bawal din po tayo magtrabaho sa matataong lugar, lalong-lalo na yung may mga padaan-daan sa likod natin. Kasi baka mamaya, yung dumadaan sa likod mo is nakikimarites na pala sa monitor mo. Nabasa nila ngayon yung entire health history ng pasyente nyo. Remember, we are responsible for the protection of our patients' health information. There are even some clients na during the interview, pag makita nila na hindi wall yung nasa likod mo, they will not push through with you. So the fifth requirement that Hello Rache is going to ask of you is a BIR registration, because all healthcare virtual assistants are responsible for paying their own taxes here sa Philippines. So Hello Rache is going to ask for a COR or Certificate of Registration from the BIR. I don't want you to worry about this right now, because Hello Rache will guide you on how to get this naman on your first couple of weeks of training. Now, the next requirement that Hello Rache is going to ask of you is a government-issued ID. So far, yung mga napag-usapan nating requirements are all easy to obtain, aside from the COR, of course. Kasi these are very common, or these are the commonly asked requirement if you apply for any job here sa Philippines. So before we move on to the technical or hardware requirements ng Hello Rache, please remember to like and subscribe. That way you get notified when the next video is up. So the first technical requirement ni Hello Rache is obviously going to be your internet connection. Ang minimum required speed ni Hello Rache is at least 10 Mbps, and the recommended one is 20 Mbps or up na DSL or fiber. Bawal po tayo gumamit ng wireless internet like LTE as our main internet connection. Pwede lang po siya as a backup, pero our main line or main internet connection should be a wired one, such as DSL or fiber nga. Now, let's talk about the system or computer that you will be using sa Hello Rache naman. Let's break it down into 3 parts. Ang unang part natin would be your RAM. The minimum requirement ni Hello Rache for the RAM is 6GB. However, my personal recommendation, just go for 8GB or even 16GB kung kaya mo. Kasi RAM dictates how much you can do on a computer or how many softwares you can open at the same time. Now, if limited ang capacity ng RAM mo and you reach that capacity or limit already, magsisimula ngayong bumagal ang computer mo and you will have trouble catching up during training. So remember, when we're talking about RAM, more is always better. For the CPU naman of your computer, you need to have at least an i3 or higher or something similar sa AMD platform. Huwag naman po sana tayo gumamit ng computer na ang CPU is Pentium pa or Celeron. For the last system requirement natin, we're going to talk about operating system. Now, Hello Rache requires you to use at least a Windows 10 computer. So either the home version or the pro version is fine, but personally I would recommend just go for the pro version because there are certain EMRs that would require you to use a Windows 10 Pro. A common question here or a frequently asked question here is, pwede po ba ang mga Mac users? Yes po, pwede naman po yung mga Mac users. However, remember that there are certain EMRs that is only usable on a Windows computer. So if you're using a Mac, malilimitahan yung number of clients kung saan namin pwede ipadala yung profiles mo. So another thing, although hindi na siya part ng requirements na Hello Rache, I would highly recommend that you use a computer with a storage na SSD, hindi hard disk drive. Kasi the difference in speed of loading time and boot time between an HDD and SSD is really significant. So mas mabilis po mag-boot up ang computer kapag naka-SSD ka and mabilis din mag-open ng mga applications and softwares mo kapag naka-SSD ka. So when I was a new scribe, I'm using a desktop computer as my primary computer ha. The problem with desktop computer kasi they're great, pero the problem is pag brownout, wala na. Hindi mo na siya magagamit. So I needed a machine that I could use kahit brownout, and a laptop is a good choice for that. Now, the problem back then was that limited ang budget natin. So the only laptop that I was able to buy within the budget was an i3 computer na may 4GB of RAM and naka-HDD siya. So needless to say, it was really frustrating to use. Like, yung boot time niya was, I don't know, 3 to 5 minutes. I might be exaggerating, but I'm very sensitive when it comes to tech. Tapos, when I tried to open up all my apps, nag-free siya. So, nakakainis talaga. It was not usable. So, ang ginawa ko, I voided the warranty kahit bago pa lang. Inopen ko na siya. Tapos, linagyan ko siya ng 250 NVMe SSD. And I made it into the main boot drive. And I also put all the work applications that I use on that SSD. And at the same time, while I was there already, dinagdagan ko siya ng 4GB of RAM pa, making the total RAM at 8GB. Now, after all the upgrade, yung specs na niya was i3 pa rin kasi it's impossible to upgrade a CPU on a laptop. i3 with 8GB of RAM and 250GB na NVMe SSD as the main boot drive. So after all that upgrade that I did, usable na siya. I did not have any complaints while using it at work. It was really working well already. So the reason I'm sharing this to you kasi this might be an upgrade path that you can copy if you have an old system na pwede rin naman i-upgrade. So instead of you buying an entirely new system, you can just upgrade your old laptop kung pwede namang i-upgrade para makatipid-tipid ka. Now, let's talk about the paraphernalia naman that you will need as a healthcare virtual assistant. Let's talk about the webcam first. So, pagdating sa web camera, the official recommendation of Hello Rache is the A4Tech 910H. This is a 1080p budget-friendly camera. Around 1,000 pesos lang siya. And I also personally used this nung nagsimula ako dito sa Hello Rache, and I highly recommend it. Ang hindi ko lang marirecommend sa inyo is that you use the integrated web camera of your laptops. Usually kasi lalong-lalo na kapag nasa budget-friendly side of things ang laptop nyo, mababa ang resolution niyan. So the picture quality is a bit grainy. And the second reason is that hindi mo na-adjust ang angles ng web camera sa mga laptops. So you're stuck with an angle na awkward and at the same time unflattering sa'yo. So I highly do suggest that you use an external web camera. The second paraphernalia that you will need is a good headset. The official recommendation of Hello Rache for a headset is the Plantronics 628 stereo USB headset. This is a very good headset because of the fact that it does have a noise cancellation feature. The downside of this headset is medyo pricey siya. It's about 2,000 pesos. Now, if you're on a budget and hindi naman maingay yung lugar mo, I would recommend the first headset that I used, which is the Logitech H340. So this is a budget-friendly USB headset, less than 1,000 pesos siya. It has a really good microphone. The downside though is that wala talaga siyang noise cancellation feature. So konting ingay lang sa background mo, maririnig yan sa microphone. So be warned. If you wanna use naman a totally different headset that's not mentioned in this video, that is fine. Ang recommendation ko lang sa inyo is that you use a USB headset kasi yung mga jack type na mga connector natin sa ibang headset, those are very prone for electrical interference. So to save you some headache, just use a USB headset. Now, if you don't have a system yet and you're thinking about buying one, you might be asking yourself kung ano ba magandang bilhin, kung desktop ba or laptop. Now, both of this system has its advantage and disadvantages. Pagdating sa desktop computer, yung advantage niya is yung repairability niya and upgradability. Madali lang mag-swap out ng parts, right? But even if I myself am using a desktop computer as my primary computer, I would still recommend that you buy a laptop or use a laptop as your first machine dito sa Hello Rache. So the reason why I highly recommend using a laptop as your first device dito sa Hello Rache is because it can double as your backup. Now, say for example, you were using a desktop computer, tas nag-brown out. Wala na, finish na. Hindi ka na makapagtrabaho niyan. You can no longer use the device. Whereas if you were using a laptop, kahit mag-brown out yan, hindi agad mamamatay yung computer mo. Why? Kasi may battery ang laptop. And usually, if not all of the current laptops na available sa market ngayon, naglalas yung battery nila ng at least 4 hours kahit hindi naka-plug in. There are even some units that could last more than 8 hours. So, if mag-brown out, you still have that battery to rely on, you can still continue to work. Now, the issue that I have with laptop is the small screen. Nalilitan ako. Ayoko kasi ng alt-tab. So, nalilitan ako sa screen niya, but that is solvable. Now, if nalilitang ka tapos nag-work ka na sa healthcare virtual assistant, medyo nakaipon-ipon ka na, then you can just buy an external monitor and connect it to your laptop para hindi ka mabitin sa screen real estate. The screen or the monitor that I would recommend that you buy pagdating mo sa point na yan is an ultra-wide monitor, yung 21:9 aspect ratio, no matter what the size, yung pahaba. That way, you can open 2 windows ng side-by-side. It will make you more efficient as a scribe. Now, the reason why I recommend you buying this not on the get-go, but rather kapag nagtatrabaho ka na kasi these kinds of monitor are expensive. The cheapest one that I could find was around 24,000 pesos. So, medyo may kamahalan siya, but to me, it's totally worth it. Backups are not required dito sa Hello Rache, but it is highly desirable both to Hello Rache and Hello Rache clients. There are even some clients that would ask us or specify na gusto lang nilang interviewin or virtual assistants na may in place na backup. So, one of the key characteristics of a good Hello Rache healthcare virtual assistant is reliability. I always keep telling the trainees is reliability. You don't have to be the best virtual assistant out there, pero bawi ka talaga sa reliability. Hindi pwede na isang brownout lang ang katapat mo. Uso ang brownout dito sa Pilipinas, uso ang power outages dito sa Pilipinas and internet outages. Pero that's not something you should accept. Again, although it is not required, I'm going to tell you my setup, my backup setup, para at least you have an idea on some things that you can do for a backup. Now, pag mag-brown out, hindi ko na pwedeng magamit yung primary computer ko, which is a desktop computer. Pag mag-brown out, I just use one of my laptops. So, both two laptops, I have two kasi. So, those two laptops have enough combined battery time of more than 8 hours. So, more than the entire shift, I still have a laptop that I can use. So, problem solved there when it comes to a computer. The next problem that you will usually have pagdating sa power outages is that nawawala yung internet. Now, that statement is true and false at the same time. It's true na namamatay yung modem mo. It's false na nawawala yung internet mo. Because more often than not, kahit brownout, meron pa rin yan linya ng internet. Okay? The only reason why you're not getting an internet connection is patay yung modem mo kasi walang kuryente nga. So how did I solve that issue? I dedicated a UPS just for my modem. For those that do not know what the UPS is, it stands for uninterrupted power supply. It's a device that is intended to be used with a desktop computer. So kinoconnect yan sa desktop computer para kung magkaroon ng brownout, the desktop computer hindi agad mag-shutdown, hindi agad mamamatay. It would last for like, I don't know, maybe 5 more minutes. That's enough time for you to save your work or finish up on whatever you're working on, right? However, I bought a UPS and dedicated it only to my modem. And if yung modem ko lang yung nakakonect sa UPS na yan, it would last more than 5 hours. So for at least 5 hours, I still have a usable, or I still have a fast internet that I could use. And at the same time, I still have my laptop. So even if mag-brownout yan, I can still continue to work. And a UPS is a very, very cheap investment. It's less than 2,000 pesos, right? Now, the next problem is what if sobrang tagal ng brownout? It doesn't happen often here, and if it does happen, usually sa morning naman, which I am not working. But in case that happens, dati I had a generator, kaso nasira na siya. The problem with generators kasi, if you don't use them often enough, nasisira siya, na-stock up. So yung sa akin nasira na. So not that I ever need to do it, pero kung magkaroon ng mahabang brownout or power outage, I will just go check into a hotel to continue to work. Now, pagdating naman sa internet outages natin, it's not common in my area, but I still do have backup in place just in case. I have two mobile devices. Both have different networks. Both always have load and data available. So kung magkaroon ng internet outages dito, again, not often, but if magkaroon, then I can just turn one of those into a hotspot. And then I will just tether my laptop or computer dun sa hotspot na yan. I know I said hindi pwede gamitin ang LTE dito sa Hello Rache, but that is just a backup. My primary internet connection is fiber. So LTE, again, is just for backup. Alright? Hindi siya pwedeng primary line mo. So yeah, those are my backups. Again, it is not a requirement, but it is best that you have them. Kung wala ka pa nito upon application, that's fine. Pero please lang, prepare this when you're already working, kapag kumikita ka na. Trust me, this will be a good investment for you. It will make you a very reliable healthcare virtual assistant and magugustuhan ka ng client. So those are all the tech requirements and qualifications that you need in order for you to apply as a healthcare virtual assistant. Now, for my personal recommendations, pagdating sa tech, I listed them all down below in the description together with their web links. That way you can check them out. And for our next video, we'll be talking about the entire hiring process ni Hello Rache. So please make sure to like and subscribe. That way you get notified when that video is up and running already. And until then, until the next video, you guys take care. Bye-bye.